The Old Tech Guy is back with a bit of wisdom that's going to help you when you travel, if you travel, or if you're on a luxury yacht. You see, here in the United States, we use power based on 110 volts and 60 hertz. What's a volt? What's a hertz? Doesn't matter. They're numbers. And they're specific numbers that describe the kind of electricity that we have in the United States. Now, throughout most of Europe, they use electricity based on 220 volts and 50 hertz. Again, doesn't matter what a volt is, only that, if you look at what they're doing in Europe, they're putting out twice as many of them. Now, this doesn't mean that your electronics will use more power when they're in Europe than they are here. That's another whole discussion, another whole video to make. But if your electronics are only expecting 110 volts and they get 220, bad things are going to happen. That's why we use adapters and converters. And you see these also throughout, for example, yachts that sail the 7 seas, and sometimes they're made overseas, and they use 220 volt power. There are two very similar kinds of things that you can find. There's adapters and converters, and you got to make sure that you're using the right one. Take a look at whatever it is that you're trying to power. Everything sold in the United States has got to have this information on it somewhere. And it will either say, for example, 110 volt, 60 hertz, or in some cases it will say 110 to 240 volts, 50 or 60 hertz. That's kind of a good thing for you, and sometimes it's a good thing for manufacturers because it means that it's easy for them to manufacture. They just make the same thing throughout the world, and they just stick a different plug end on it, because you probably know that they use different plugs in different parts of the world. If your device has some sort of universal power supply, and a lot of charging cubes will, for example, a lot of computers will, for example, then all you have to do is get an adapter. All the adapter does is change the shape of one plug to the shape of another plug. That's not really a big deal. It's just kind of a change in it, and there's nothing really happening to the electricity inside it. But if you try to use a plain old adapter with something that is only designed to take 110 volts, it's going to get bad. And it's probably going to destroy the thing that you brought with you. That's why you would need a voltage converter. And take a look. If it says 60 hertz, you're going to also need something that will change it to 50 hertz. These tend to be a bit more expensive, but they are available. It's just a matter of knowing what you need. In the case of our friends in the marine world, oftentimes you'll find that the equipment that we sell at Solid Signal will handle 110 volts, 220 volts, 240 volts, 50 hertz, 60 hertz, and it's just a matter of attaching the right plug to it. However, if you're talking about something like satellite receivers, you can void the warranty by connecting to the wrong kind of power source. Just make sure before you do anything that the power source that you're supplying is something that the device can handle. And if not, get a converter or an adapter. Sometimes you can buy just a second power plug and that's all you need. That's essentially the same as having a converter, but just be careful. Know what you've got, and you'll always be safe.